Oh,
I can't wait for
should say
this.
I'm by no means a crypto expert.
Oh, pause it already.
Lecture on block.
I have no idea what I'm talking about.
I have no idea what
what
I'm... Gotta give her credit, though. I mean, she's giving the fucking disclaimer. She's like, I have no fucking clue what I'm talking about, but I'm gonna talk about it anyway, because the people that control me told me I need to talk about this today.
It's like people think they have to have an opinion on something when they're completely uneducated.
It's like, well, if you're uneducated, just say I'm uneducated. I don't really know about this.
I don't have an opinion. I haven't done my research.
Yeah, let's hear what she has to say.
Yeah, off to a good start.
The first thing she puts up, follow the money. Rachel, what is money? Have you thought about that?
Hey, I don't know.
We might have to end after this because I'm going to storm out.
But I do think it's worth looking at this crypto thing a little bit.
This
only
crypto
because
thing.
it is a deeply old-fashioned scam at this point.
It's a simple scam. Look how she initially frames the whole thing. Mm-hmm. This crypto thing. I mean, the whole framing, the bias, the denigration of something.
And she doesn't even delineate between blockchains and cryptocurrencies.
I mean, she's completely an idiot. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how you can go on TV and not have done basic research and education and just feel like you can talk on a subject. I mean, this is everything that's wrong with society and
mainstream media.
Probably mainstream media, corporate media.
Not mainstream because they just lost. They're not mainstream anymore.
Thank you.
Corporate
Joe Rogan is mainstream now, but yeah, corporate media. I mean, she is the problem. So let's.
But I think she genuinely, the only authentic sentence she spoke was the first.
The first sentence. I have no idea what I'm talking about.
The irrelevant stream media transcript,
which points right to the White House.
Which points right to the White House. The scam from the White House.
Gives us no choice. You have to look at it.
Pause it again.
Hopefully, the broad strokes.
Follow the money right to the White House. She says. I mean,
well, it's also. I remember the people were saying, "Oh, Trump's gonna, tell his family which coins to buy before they pump it all this up and stuff." They're already holding the Bitcoin. They're not gonna buy anymore. It's not gonna have any impact on the market.
Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, the whole point of this is like the whole thing that you have all these regimes and stuff. Disclosure is like a blockchain is open source and public. It's a public ledger. People can track, look, see. Like there's no hiding. It's not like all three of us can go in a room and like talk about how the stock we're gonna short and collaborate and do like wizardry that way. Like. Mm-hmm. You can see on-chain what is happening. That is what a blockchain is. It's a transparent public ledger, right? So you go to Bitcoin's blockchain, you can see, the funds, the flow of funds, where money's going, who's buying, whatever, right? I mean, it's transparently public. Blockchains are transparent. But let's go on.
Crypto trading are not complicated. It's like when there was the Beanie Baby craze in the late 90s. People started buying these stuffed animals, right?
Pause it again.
Her example still doesn't even work because some Beanie Babies still hold value.
Yeah, that is true, right? That is true. But also the idea of Bitcoin has been the best performing asset in all of human history. Like we're like 15, 16, 17 years in now. Like, it's just going up and up and up and up over time. I mean, it's like, you're wrong.
And Bitcoin is uniform. Beanie Babies are not.
Yeah.
That whole argument is so ridiculous. It's that tulip argument.
Yeah.
Bitcoin can't be counterfeited, right? These collectibles can. There's so many different layers.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently not worth much, but people were speculating on them, right? It was a Beanie Baby trading bubble. Other than maybe some emotional value if you had one as a child, Beanie Babies didn't have much inherent value, but it was worth buying up a bunch of them because there was speculation on the premise.
They don't have any inherent value, but it was worth buying up a bunch of them. What? Like that statement just doesn't even make sense. Like that's the stove was hot, but then it was cold when I touched it. It's like it's like an oxymoron. People obviously found value. They found entertainment. They had some value they found in that craze, right?
I mean, there's also the argument of I can't remember that. Like you can buy a good that doesn't really have much use, but it makes you feel happier about it or something like that. I can't remember the term it was for.
Sentimental value, I guess.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
As collectibles, maybe one day your Beanie Babies collection could be worth a lot of money. Cryptocurrencies operate on the same idea. They have no inherent value at all.
See, that's
the only value they have.
Completely false. Completely false. They have no inherent value at all. So this idea of being able to permissionlessly create a wallet and have access to and store your wealth and have money and be able to transact, to be able to send funds across the world at the speed of light without permission. I mean, that is incredibly valuable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like the blockchain technology is revolutionary.
Yeah. To be able to store your wealth in a currency that the government can't print and steal from you via the insidious tax of inflation, that is incredibly valuable. It is a transparent public globally decentralized ledger system that's completely secure,
It's
based on energy.
It's the measurement of
We're talking
value.
about Bitcoin specifically,
Uncorruptible unit
Yeah.
for measuring value.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea how hard that is to establish?
Yeah.
That's why they use gold, because they couldn't mess with it. You had counterfeit gold, but you couldn't make more gold.
Yeah.
So your measuring stick was consistent.
Exactly.
Is if you have some reason to believe that somebody else might want to buy them from you in the future.
So what she's describing is
That's
what
it.
we call the greater fool's theory. It's this idea that I'm only buying this so I can like sell it to you for more later, right? Which is just complete bullshit. I'm not trying to sell it to you later. I'm thinking with the idea of like, I'm holding Bitcoin, and like when I want to sell my Bitcoin, I really won't have to anymore because it's so ingrained in everything, right? Bitcoin can be used to buy whatever I want, whatever I need.
It's like
it's a fair money accounting system for humanity.
It's like the analogous to back to 2000 BC or something. You figure out magically that gold's going to be what everyone trades in.
Yeah.
And so you're able to collect a bunch of it for
Yeah.
either cheap or free. And then all you have to do is wait 20 years, and now all of a sudden you're one of the wealthiest people because you realized that this was going to be a great tool for transacting.
Nobody's holding and hoarding gold so they can sell it to somebody else at a higher price. Like they're using it to protect their purchasing power. So other people can't steal, the government specifically can't steal it from them, right? So they have this tool that captures their life's energy that they can save in, right? It's a savings technology, a savings tool. Imagine, I feel so bad for all of the, older population or like grandma that puts all her money in a savings account and just sits there for 10, 20, 30 years. That, after 30 years, that money has lost 90% of its purchasing power, right? Like that is astounding and sad, right? Because like this even happens further in other countries that hyperinflate, right? She's like looking at this from an American point of view, but like I remember seeing a grandmother from Venezuela that within a couple of weeks saw her life's savings, her life's energy, her life's work all confiscated from her by a corrupt government that printed money into oblivion and caused hyperinflation. Like she could barely afford. She was crying in tears saying like, this was for my grandchildren's college funds. And now all I can afford is a plane ticket to fly to the United States.
Well, it's also really
Like how heartbreaking is that?
What's also really sad is because of the inflation of the currency. Like people used to be able to just save in gold. They didn't have to risk themselves in the stock market, and they could only invest in the financial stuff as much as they needed to know. Put gold in bank and then save it up for 20 years, and then I can live in retirement. But you can't do that anymore. You have to gamble with it constantly.
Yeah.
There's no safe place to put things in.
It's definitely perverted the incentive structure around society for sure, right? And there is some element of like, money going into the markets is a good thing, right? But we should be funding good companies that really have a value proposition. So,
I mean, it's good for you to try and risk your money or your capital to try and create more value.
Yeah.
But some people don't want to risk, and they shouldn't be
they should
punished
be
for
forced
not
to.
wanting to risk.
That's the Keynes logic that, animal spirits, we have to force people not to want to save. They want to have to just spend. That's part of, Keynesian economics. And that's the theory behind it, right? Let's go on, Paul, man. We're never going to get through this.
I told you,
And what that means in very practical terms is that convincing other people that your crypto is popular and in demand, convincing people that your crypto thing is going to have value in the future. It's going to be collectible as Beanie Babies.
I don't understand free markets. That's basically what she's saying. Like,
it's also, this is just much more comparative to the .com boom.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of companies that were completely worthless. But they still managed to IPO, make millions of dollars, and then went bankrupt 2 months later. But there was also other ones like Google, Amazon, I think, several others that became some of the biggest tech companies in the world right now.
Providing incredible, tremendous value for society.
Exactly.
So, yeah, let's keep going.
Babies. That is key to actually making money. One of the things the SEC alleged a couple of years ago in 2023 was that Justin Sun had orchestrated a scheme to pay celebrities to tout his cryptocurrencies without disclosing that he had paid them to do so. So in other words, he was creating the impression of hype.
So she's doing this thing where she just lumps in everything in the industry. Imagine if she was talking about the internet right now. The internet is a passing fad. It's a scam. Look what happened. Grandma got her credit card number stolen, right? So she's alluding to fraud that exists in any industry, or something that's unethical or illegal that exists in any kind of thing, right? Bernie Madoff did Ponzi schemes, he did all sorts of stuff, right? So there's all sorts of scammers in any industry, and she's cherry picking those things and saying this is everything that's in the industry. Like, imagine if we had people like her doing this, and there definitely were people like Paul Krugman saying that the internet would be no more important than the fax machine. I mean, this is how these people think, and they could not be more wrong. And she's just another example of ignorance and putting this out on television to all of her audience. I mean, it's a sad day.
Yeah,
it's a
the only
sad time.
saving grace we have is that the younger generation isn't paying attention at all.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Like only
nobody's paying attention.
50 plus, 60 plus is actually watching this.
Yeah.
Everyone else is completely ignoring it.
Yeah.
And organic enthusiasm around his product when that hype didn't naturally exist. That was the allegation, which again, Justin Sun has denied. And now
Pause
the
it for a
SEC.
second. It's kind of funny that she's like, even that case is ridiculous. Like, people pay for advertising of different products and services on everything on a daily basis, whether it's a currency, whether it's, a commodity, whether it's a product, whatever it may be. Like, people pay people to promote their products all the time. So I just find that whole thing just ridiculous. Like, he obviously, yes, it should be disclosed who your sponsors are. So that aspect of it is not ridiculous, but you can go on.
Has halted the case right after he gave more than $50 million to the Trump family.
Pause that again.
Yeah.
So here's this little bullshit that they're doing now is like she's trying to insinuate that the case is just paused because Justin Sun donated the money to the Trump administration. What she's also not telling you is that the SEC and the current government in power has dropped cases against everybody in the industry, not just Justin Sun, not just scammers alike, like even projects that are like Ponzi scheme scams. They've just dropped everything, right? They're trying to reset and figure it out, whether it be legitimate companies like Coinbase and Kraken, whether it be projects like Justin Sun's native Web3 products like Justin Sun's project, or whether it be even like, in my opinion, Ponzi scheme scammers like Richard Harden, this whole like hex pumpamental, that's a game of greater fools. So there is an aspect of that.
Question
So,
I have is,
yeah.
all right, he donated $50 million to Trump. But what about the Democrat side? Did he donate like $100 million? So, because even Trump was saying he donates to both people. He's a businessman.
Yeah.
He donates
That's
to
smart.
everyone.
Hedge your bets.
Exactly.
Hedge your bets.
So it's like, and plus $50 million for a billionaire.
Yeah.
I mean, that
That's
would be
a-
life changing for most of us in this room. But for somebody like Trump and or like Elon, you don't even notice it.
But she's implying that was what caused the government, the SEC, to drop the case. But no, the current SEC is just dropping all the cases so they can start from ground zero and figure out, okay, should they go after fraud and like that? Yeah, that fraud should be gone after in every industry. But aside from that, they shouldn't be playing referee. I mean, sorry, they should be playing referee, but they shouldn't be picking winners and losers and picking, we're going to go after this exchange because we like this guy, and we're going to drop our cases against him because no, that's not what's happening here. What's happening here is the cases were dropped unanimously across the board on all of these, extortion rackets that the SEC was committing essentially against crypto industry.
Will she bring up SBF?
Let's hear it. Let's hear it. Probably not.
Hype in cryptocurrency is that people should buy in soon, right? Get in on the ground floor while it's cheap because it's about to go way up in value because there's so much interest in it. You get it on the ground floor now, you'll make a bundle.
Yeah. Pause it again. So another thing about crypto that's been amazing in Web3 in general is that it's retail that has had first access to these markets in a lot of cases, as opposed to like the institutions get in first on everything and then retail gets the crumbs later, like with the stock market.
There, when it comes to issuance of stocks, that you have to meet certain criteria to be able to buy the stocks before the
you
general public.
have to be a accredited investor. You have to fucking, to get to Series A's, you have to be politically connected to be able to even see half these offerings, and Series A, Series B, Series C, Series D, all these things. And then finally, when it's publicly traded, when
All the value,
max value
appreciation.
creation and appreciation have occurred, now the peasants can get the crumbs, right? That's the status quo. Yes, there's a lot of projects that fail and people lose their money, and a lot of it's gambling. But there's also the idea that people should be allowed to do what they want. Adults should be allowed to conduct business and
also
take risks if they want.
Also, a nice thing is you can see if people have been pre-mining it, so somebody's just sitting on a giant stack of coins that they're going to try and liquidate as soon as it comes.
The blockchains are public, right? So you can actually look at you can do your research. If you're, the public information is there for if you're sophisticated, or if you're not even sophisticated, if you have just spend 5 to 10 minutes of doing basic research about blockchains and learning about them.
Or,
Like the internet is democratize all this information. And then you can literally go to the blockchain and look at the different blockchains and see, oh, who has the supply? How much of the supply is here? How much of the supply is there? When did this happen? When did the project launch? All these features and things are publicly available. The information, the disclosure is absolutely there. A blockchain's literally our disclosure.
And it's easy to find out. If you don't know, you can, I mean,
We have the internet now.
Yeah,
The
there's
community,
also,
internet,
you can
everything.
also- I'm sure there's websites that you can spend $5 a month for,
Yeah.
and then you get all that research.
Of
at
course,
your
absolutely.
At your
It all
fingertips.
exists, absolutely. Let's keep going.
It's the whole hype. It's the whole scam. And when I mentioned that the news tonight leaves us not much choice, but to talk about this stuff right now, this is what I mean. The White House just posted this video tonight of Donald Trump signing an executive order establishing a digital Fort Knox, as
so
someone
funny,
says
Rachel.
to the president off camera. Trump apparently signing this executive order creates.
He's establishing a digital Fort Knox, which all of the people in retail have had access to this entire time. We
Yeah.
all have hardware wallets.
Yeah.
It's finally the government catching up with the rest of the crypto industry.
Yeah, it's nice to see for the first time, there's been an industry and a movement that's been established from the people, and
From the
retail
ground up.
from the ground up. This has been grassroots, built on the internet, native digital gold for literally money for all of humanity. That's completely optional. Like, again, Bitcoin isn't coercing anybody. Like, you can choose, you can learn about it, you can educate yourself, and you can
Zero
choose.
marketing dollars.
Zero marketing dollars, totally decentralized. I mean, the amount of ignorance from Rachel Maddow is astounding and staggering. And the funny part is, like, at the beginning, she's like, I have no fucking clue what I'm talking about, and then goes on to talk about it. So let's finish this up.
All right.
Creating what they're describing as a federal government cryptocurrency reserve. Now, imagine the Beanie Babies again for a second. Imagine Trump had just announced that the U.S. government was going to buy up tons of Beanie Babies. We are going to establish a federal government reserve of billions of Beanie Babies. What do you think would happen to the value of Beanie Babies?
I mean, she's so clueless.
Right?
I just feel bad. Like, have fun staying poor.
Oh, it turns out there's a
So
huge
fucking clueless.
guaranteed buyer for these things.
So
They're
here it
buying
again. She's
billions of them.
here's another level of fraud. She's saying we're buying billions of them. Completely false. We are just simply holding the ones that have been seized.
Exactly.
So this is total lie, total disinformation.
I feel bad for the
I hope she
people
gets
listening.
I feel bad for the people listening. You're being misinformed,
Right.
and she's a disinformation peddler.
There needs
I mean,
to
I think we should have fact checkers. Should they fact check her?
We need to
or,
have-
or guess what? I think we're the fact checkers because we're calling her bullshit out.
We need to have more. Trump
yeah.
needs to have more libel or slander lawsuits because this is just straight up lying at this point. And
It's lying.
He's won.
I don't think
against
that.
CNN and
Yeah,
whatnot.
no, I think it's just total lying, total bullshit.
But there needs to be justice and punishment for the lies.
I think it's a slippery slope if you start doing that. I think you just need to call it out, right? You need to call what we're doing right now is we are the fact checkers for people that we're fact checking it live. We're talking about it, and we're basically showing that she's essentially an idiot. I mean, so
maybe
just making
after-
stuff up or
maybe
whether
after-
it's malicious or whatever. But yeah, I mean, right now the executive order explicitly says no, we're not buying.
We're holding.
And if we are going to accumulate more, it's going to be in a budget neutral way, which means it's not going to cost taxpayers. So I think, aside from Congress making a legislation that creates capital from taxpayers to do that, what this administration is doing, I think they hit the nail on the head. They threaded the needle. It's exactly what needs to be done. So yeah, let's keep it going. Let's hear more Rachel Maddow lies.
Does anybody have a bucket of tomatoes?
I don't know, but I think you should clip this video after we make it and put it under her account.
Absolutely.
I understand tar and feathering from back in the day. Now. I get it now.
So funny.
I should mention that when Trump first brought up this idea, this cryptocurrency national reserve thing on Sunday, he name-checked 5 specific cryptocurrencies that would be going into this government reserve. And Trump's own cryptocurrency company, his own project, bought $20 million of those currencies, of 2 of those currencies this week, ahead of what we now know will be a White House summit on crypto tomorrow.
So a private citizen.
What'd she say?
Well, he wasn't a
What'd
private
she say?
citizen.
Who did it?
I think him
He
as
bought
private
Bitcoin and
company.
Ethereum? No way. I mean, just so funny, so silly, these people.
Here is that you hype something by making it appear that there is a market, that there's demand, that there's lots and lots of buyers for specific crypto. and people who get in on the ground floor and own it, boy, that value is going to go up. Well, it would seem that President Trump and his family and the White House specifically are now playing that game.
Yeah,
How long did
16 years into Bitcoin's creation. We're on the ground floor. Honestly, it is still really the ground floor, but because you have people that are totally clueless, like Rachel Maddow, going on and saying this complete utter nonsense.
But like, how long did the Beanie Baby craze, like,
I don't know, a couple months, a year, maybe.
Yeah, like 2 or 3 years. Or 4 years. We're 4 times longer into Bitcoin, and it's still going strong.
Yeah. Well, again, the fundamental question is, what is money? And when you go down that rabbit hole, Mrs. Maddow, you'll find your answer.